All right, today we're going to map out the massive market opportunity behind a piece of tech that's seriously reshaping our energy world: microgrids. So let's just jump right in with a question for you. Have you ever seen a grid that can power itself? I mean, really think about it. A small pocket of the power grid that can make its own electricity, store it, and keep everything running. A whole community, or maybe a big industrial park, even if the main grid goes completely dark. Well, that's not some sci-fi movie plot. That's exactly what a microgrid is. The best way to think about it is like a self-sufficient electrical island. It's got its own power generation, think solar panels, its own energy storage, like massive batteries, and it's all dedicated to local customers. And here's the really cool part, the key part. It can work connected to the main grid, just like normal, or, and this is the magic, it can disconnect and run completely on its own. So the big question is, why now? Why is this technology suddenly blowing up? What's really creating this surge in microgrids right this second? Let's unpack the core drivers behind this whole thing. Okay, it really boils down to solving two huge problems at the same time. First up, the energy transition. We're adding tons and tons of solar and wind power, but the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow, right? They're intermittent. Well, microgrids are the perfect solution here. They let all that green energy be made, stored, and used right where it's needed. Then, second, you've got grid resilience. Our main grids, they're under some serious stress from extreme weather and just skyrocketing demand. A microgrid, it's like a protective bubble. It gives you reliable backup power and can wall off critical spots from those big, widespread outages. And of course, none of this happens without the right economics. The real kicker, the critical piece of the puzzle, is cost. And check this out. The bid prices for energy storage systems have just plummeted. We're talking a 15 to 32% drop year over year. That is a total game changer. It makes the business case for building these things not just possible, but really, really attractive. So this brings us to a really crucial point. This is a market-pulled thing. It's not being pushed by policy from the top down. No, the demand is coming from the bottom up. It's industries, it's communities, they're the ones demanding reliable, green, and now affordable power. Policy's actually playing catch up here. It's supporting the wave, not creating it. And for any investor or developer out there, that's a massive signal, right? It means the demand is real, it's sustainable, and it isn't just propped up by some temporary government program. But look, making a microgrid happen is not a solo act. It takes a whole ecosystem of different players all working together. So who exactly is building this market? Let's meet the team. All right, let's run through the roster. First, you've got the facility owner. This is your end user, your customer. Think a data center, a big factory, or a hospital. Then you've got the grid company. They're kind of the gatekeepers to the bigger network. Next up are the system suppliers. These are the folks providing the actual hardware and software, the brains and the brawn. The batteries, the inverters, all the smart control systems. And finally, you have the system integrator. They're like the conductor of the orchestra, the ones who design and build the entire project, making sure all the pieces work together perfectly. Okay, so we've got the why and the who. Now let's get to the fun part, sizing up the opportunity. What's the scale of the prize here? Just how big is this market we're talking about? And honestly, the number is just staggering. We're looking at a global microgrid market forecasted to hit $191 billion by 2033. Let me say that again, $191 billion. This isn't some tiny niche corner of the energy sector anymore. This is fast becoming a central pillar of our future infrastructure. And this next point, it just perfectly shows how critical microgrids are becoming. Take a huge market like China. It's estimated that by 2026, a whopping 70%, 70, of all new energy storage being installed will be tied directly to microgrids. The takeaway here is crystal clear. If you're talking about the future of energy storage, you are talking about the microgrid market. They're becoming one and the same. So how does all this potential actually turn into, real money and jobs? Well, it follows a pretty clear path, almost like a domino effect. It all kicks off with that real market demand for better power. That demand then pushes for a policy response to make it happen. Once the rules are in place, that sparks construction. And that construction, it directly leads to a flood of orders for all the equipment and services needed to build these things. Okay, so with all this happening, how can you actually track this growth for yourself? How can you read the tea leaves? We've put together a simple framework, a kind of toolkit to help you spot the key market signals and see where this is all going. First things first, you've got to watch the basic economics. Keep your eyes on the falling costs of energy storage and lithium-ion batteries. That's signal number one. At the same time, you want to track financing costs. It's a pretty simple formula, right? When the tech gets cheaper and the money to build it is affordable, projects just get built way faster. Signal number two, look for policy and demand signs. You want to ask yourself, are governments launching new pilot programs? Are big companies announcing deals to build these things? Are the actual rules of the electricity market changing to make all this easier? These are the early tremors, the signs that the floodgates are getting ready to open. Third, you have to follow the physical evidence, the stuff happening on the ground. Are new projects actually being switched on? Are the big utility companies putting serious, real money behind this? I mean, when you start seeing massive flagship projects getting completed, you know the market is shifting gears from just testing things out to full-scale deployment. Fourth, and this is a big one, watch the technology signals. Are innovators showing off amazing breakthroughs like storage systems that can keep the power on for more than 100 hours straight? Are we seeing big leaps in the core tech? Things like grid-forming inverters, which basically let a microgrid create its own super stable power signal, or the AI software that runs the whole show. These breakthroughs give you a sneak peek at what the next generation of microgrids is going to be able to do. And finally, number 5, track the demand coming from other booming industries. This is key. The explosion in AI, for example, is creating this just insatiable appetite for power that absolutely cannot fail. So when you start seeing data centers and other high-tech facilities putting out official requests for microgrids, you know a very powerful, very motivated new customer has just walked into the room. So to wrap all this up, there is a quote from our source material that just nails it perfectly. Energy transition is not replacement, but system restructuring. And that's exactly what microgrids are about. This isn't just about swapping a coal plant for a solar farm. It's about a fundamental redesign of our entire grid, making it smarter, tougher, and more distributed. They are an absolutely key piece of the puzzle for building our energy future. And believe me, this market is really just getting warmed up.